What's going on, guys? Welcome. Today we have an excellent episode, one of our conceptual bits. I've been doing the long form reviews and I want to start sliding in some more interesting subject matter. I got my boy with me, but before I spoil all the beans, check out that intro. All right. Welcome to the Scent Bubble. I am your host. I've got a co-host with me today, but before we get into that, let me kind of just show you guys what we're diving into for today. Today, we are going to talk about 6 fragrances that are $50 and below that would qualify as niche fragrances. That is, if you had a blindfold over your eyes and all you could do was smell the fragrance and you blind bought the fragrance, you would definitely say in your mind, wow, this smells expensive, quality, smells like something I would have caught from Neiman's. And we're going to just share, my co-host and I, 3 fragrances a piece. So a total of 6 fragrances that we think for the price absolutely qualify into niche category perfumery and tell you why. And we are going to go back and forth. So without further ado, I want to introduce my co-host for the afternoon. Let's hit the split screen. There's my man. Hey, listen, before he intros him, oh shoot, I accidentally cut you off for a second. Before he intros, this is my guy, man. We've been doing it for quite a while. I love his content, and so I thought, who better to kind of collab with me on this piece of content for y'all? Gator, introduce yourself to the people.
Yo, what's going on, Fragrance family? It's your man Gator, better known as the Novice Knows out here in these fragrance streets. What's going on, everybody, man? I'm happy to be here. It's my boy, man, TheScentBubble. This when we collab, man, it means something to people, bro. Because I have people literally going in my comments, "Oh, when you go get with TheScentBubble?" I've seen people in yours like, hey, you need to get a collab with Gator going. So yeah, man, it's always good to jump on with you, man, and talk fragrances because we talk fragrances online and offline. So it's always good to be with you, man.
100%. Hey, I respect your nose heavily. You're out here, you're in these fragrance streets. And so I just have a great deal of respect for you and the craft and thoughtfulness you put into your fragrance journey and how you share that with people. So I'm always looking forward to a great time. For those of you out there who don't know, this collaboration is just an extension of stuff we do all the time. So
Yeah.
we're happy to turn a camera on, as we probably should
Right.
have many times before, but we finally were
Yeah.
conscious about that this time around. So I'm excited to dive into this. Before we kind of let Gator take the floor here, because I'm gonna have him start off. When we talk about niche fragrances, guys, I feel in FragCom, a lot of terms are ambiguous. And the reason I think they're ambiguous is because there's kind of this generalization in terms of definition with certain terms that I think help us get by, like when we use names like clone and dupe and inspired, niche, longevity, projection, performance, DNA, dimension to a fragrance. All these things, I think they have a very general, broad definition. But I think when we're getting into the nitty gritty, things need to be defined in terms of helping you take in the right information and synthesize it and contextualize it in a way that properly educates your mind to make better decisions in your own journey. Because I think with a lot of the definitions comes a lot of assumptions. And those assumptions come with certain biases that aren't always black and white. And because they're not black and white, there's room for difference of opinion and perspective that I think is much needed so that when you go out on your own fragrance journey, it truly is your own fragrance journey. It's not someone else's kind of infusion into you and all that, but you're being proper. Again, I talked to Kix Griffey about this before. What it really comes down to is we just need to be aware of being intentional in the space and sharing an honest account of where we are in our journey, how we're processing through things. Our job is to just share the information and share the information in a way that helps other people take that information and contextualize it into their walk to enrich or enliven their own experience to be unique, just like yours was. There's nothing worse than a bunch of people walking around loving the exact same fragrances for the exact same reasons. And there's also nothing worse than kind of prejudging fragrances where you look on Fragrantica and you think because you see the notes that somehow you can judge whether or not you'll like it or not. It really kind of spoils an authentic fragrance journey and also removes the possibility of being surprised by fragrances that you might have at a glance not liked and then fell in love with. I know for me and Gator, that's happened quite often in the
Oh,
journey.
yeah.
And so, again, we're not going to get super nerdy with it on this episode. I just kind of wanted to throw that out as a disclaimer for this episode because when we talk about niche, kind of a very loose general definition when we think of niche, we think of fragrances that aren't necessarily mass marketed through the main media outlets and through the main retailers. We're talking fragrances that oftentimes have limited quantity, harder to find. Sometimes they're more expensive, and oftentimes that's due to the fact that they might have more expensive perfumery, or they come from a more prestigious brand, or they had a lot more thoughtfulness into how it lays on skin, or the harvesting of the materials and things like that. So when we talk about fragrances here that pass for niche, we are talking mainly from a quality standpoint of a fragrance smelling expensive, smelling like it was well thought out, has dimension to it, may or may not have at least moderate to great performance, not a lot of synthetics or fakery going on in the fragrance, and just overall really, really well done and great smelling. Because I think in this space, there are a lot of fragrances under the $50 price point that you should be considering. And if you kind of walk with the tone of, well, I only like expensive stuff, you might look over a lot of this stuff, under the rocks that does smell expensive but won't break the bank. And that is a popular topic today in FragCom, whether you like it or you don't. So with that being said, we're going to go back and forth and hit you with 3 fragrances, $50 and below, that you should have in your collection, that if you had a blindfold on and didn't see the labels and all that, you would say without question, this is a niche fragrance. And hopefully you guys might pick that up for your collection. All
Oh,
right. Y'all know I'm long-winded. I'm gonna turn the gas off right now and send it over to my man Gator at TheNoviceKnows, and hit us with your first fragrance, man.
So, man, my first fragrance, and just to kind of piggyback on what you were saying earlier, man. I think that the niche space actually kind of gets, kind of clogged up with people thinking that niche has to be super expensive, that niche has to be, something that you're paying $400 or $500 for. Not necessarily. And there's a lot of fragrances that are considered niche that are actually more along the lines of, on the lower end of what you would consider your price point. One of those that I'm getting into right now is this guy right here. This is a fragrance from Ajmal called Song of Oud. Now, when you talk about a fragrance smelling expensive, this is that. It's got some apple and bergamot at the top of this thing and some ginger. Now, it goes down into like a really kind of woody floral aspect of this. Now, when it says oud, it doesn't really have what you would call a traditional oud note. But what they do is they blend osmanthus and they blend lily of the valley and they blend other woody notes to give that bite of oud, but to actually use that infused with ginger to have a fresher take on your actual or your standard oud experience. This thing retails, I think, somewhere around the range, at least it was retailing, somewhere in the range of about $39.99. That's what I bought this for. But it lasts all day. It has monster projection, and it's unique in the aspect of that it does marry a ginger and a fresh oud. It's something that when you're wearing this, you're gonna stand out in the crowd, man. I think I've said that this is the perfect yacht fragrance, and it's because of the way that the apple and the ginger play on top of that oud note. It is a beautiful fragrance, man. I love this stuff.
Okay, and give me a or it, you say it's kind of a yacht club fragrance. Do you wear it anywhere else?
Yeah, so you could wear this. I would say this is more for the springtime and maybe even the fall. I wouldn't say summertime so much, although it can be if you lighten your sprays up. I think 2 sprays, you'd be great in a summer breeze. I would say this is something that you want to wear outside, man. I don't think that this is what you would consider an office fragrance. This is something that you would want to wear when you're out, maybe going to like an outdoor errands scenario, something like that. If you wanted to go to an outdoor party, like
Mm.
a deck party or something like that, it is something that you would be. I guess you could wear it to like a game or something like that. This is one that functions well around people. And what I mean by that is, as long as you're outside, I think that it will definitely be something that people will like flock to you when you wear.
Mm. Gosh, so it's got some gravity to it.
Oh yeah.
Excellent. And where can they find it?
So you can actually find this right now on Joma Shop. I believe there you can get it on Fragrance Net, and there was on Amazon for a while, but the price on Amazon was stupid. I haven't seen it on there in a while. But Joma Shop's probably the best place to just jump on and get it. Sloma Shop, as we call it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I do think that they do have it on FragranceBuy.ca. At least they did a couple of months ago.
Excellent. All right. Hey, coming out with a heavy hitter. I haven't heard of that fragrance, and looking into it, it's got a really nice breakdown. So I might have to put my nose on that one. Excellent. So, all right, guys. For me, my first fragrance, I wanted to start bottom of the barrel. And by bottom of the barrel, I'm talking price point. This fragrance you can get for $20 just about anywhere. And it is a clone. And I intentionally picked this. I got some clones. I got some designer houses. Gator went designer as well. We wanted to make this well rounded for you guys, so you guys can get a piece of the action everywhere. So you can get this fragrance for about 20-25 bucks max, pretty much anywhere you go, even Amazon. It's cloning one of my favorite fragrances of all time, maybe in one of my top tens at least. And that's Memo Paris's African Leather.
Mm.
When we talk about this fragrance, what are we talking about? We're talking about warm, spicy, zingy, edgy. I think mass appealing in some respects because it has an apple pie-ness, but unlike something like a Parfums de Marly Carlisle, it leans less into the sweetness of kind of that apple pie, warm, spicy DNA and goes more edgy, zingy. For those of you guys who have been following this channel for a while, I liken African Leather to tiger piss. This is just kind of the man out in the wild, edgy. I see a man like on a dance floor just killing it with the baddest looking chick around. This is just a fragrance that has a lot of gravity to it, a lot of unique zing. And for the warm, spicy, seductive, edgy category, it's just very mature and very signature for my nose in particular. So for that, the fragrance I'm going to introduce to you guys is from Maison Alhambra. For those of you who have been familiar with them, they can be very hit or miss, like very many houses that run in the inspiration category. But this one, they completely hit the bullseye for me. This is Maison Alhambra's Afro Leather. Complete clone
Oh yeah.
in every regard. Bottle presentation, the juice, the titling. They were not trying to hint at anything. This is straight for the throat. And guys, I gotta tell you, similar to my thoughts on Cassius, which is the Carlisle rendition by the same house, this is stunning. I've always in the back of my mind loved African Leather more than Carlisle because of that edginess, that zing, that kind of savory, sweet punch, where I felt like Carlisle kind of leans more safe holiday, but still very interesting and unique. But out of the two being in the same wheelhouse, this just has a lot of kind of wild manness to it, I guess.
Oh yeah.
It's a fragrance that really dances. Guys, it's 1-to-1 to me. Not only is it 1-to-1, but sometimes you get a 1-to-1 fragrance and then it lacks some performance. This is 8 to 10 hours easy on my skin, whether you soft spray it or long spray it. And I just think when you look at a fragrance collection, sweet, fougere, holiday, fresh, citrus, woodsy, oody. This just sits in its own category, guys. Normally with warm and spicy, people take the safe route and they go vanillic. You know what I'm saying? Cardamom, spices, cinnamon, vanilla, maybe throw some booze in it if they want a little bit of interest. Nah, man, they take it a completely more edgy direction with this. And this is a much must have. Even if you just went with African leather, it's a must have staple in the collection. But hey, praise God, you can get it for 20 bucks. And without question, if you were blind testing the two, you would not see the difference unless you were really in the fragrance game for a long time and could tell a little bit of the nuance in the dimension and depth. But man, there is so much depth to be had with this fragrance, and it is powerful stuff. You can get it anywhere. Occasions for this, man, you're hitting the dance floor. You're dressed up, you're hitting the club. You could even wear this yacht club as well. Anything fancy, schmancy, you want to have gravity and seduction, but you also want to have edginess to it. This is like good guy, bad guy. Like, she doesn't know what she's going to get. There's some mystery there, but then there's also some commonality. I think it's nightlife in a bottle. For weather, for me, I think this is less of a weather fragrance and more of an occasion fragrance. I definitely think you could rock it outdoors, indoors. I don't really care. It's the occasion. You could take it out. You're going to a special event. You want gravity. You want head turning. You just want conversation starters. This is all of that. And it doesn't mock your traditional type of blend. So this is a must have in your collection. You can get it for 20 bucks or you can go spend the 300 or whatever on African leather. I don't care. This is the $50 or less video. So I would definitely put that in your collection. It is absolutely phenomenal.
It is. It definitely is, man. I've had my nose on that before, and it really does come close to the OG. It really does, man, and it does have that swagger-inducing, type of vibe to it.
Swagger is the right word, man.
Hmm.
That is swagger in a bottle, and it's enough close to the DNA where you get that expensive niche feel for pennies on the dollar. So I
Oh
just
yeah.
have a crazy amount of respect for it. What you got for us for number 3?
Now you went into seduction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to go to seductive on my next one here, man. This is actually let me make sure because it's a little bit of a fingerprint matted of a bottle here. Now this bottle is unique in itself, right? It's just a square or a rectangle, This is Jesus de Pozo Gold Cedar Night. Now, if that name sounds familiar, that
Oh,
Jesus de Pozo, same person that made Halloween Man X,
that's
Halloween Man
right.
Shot, those types of fragrances. Same person that made this, man. This fragrance is an unsung hero. When you're talking about GTD, and for my old school folks that know what GTD means, or I'm
Down,
trying
down,
to GTD,
down.
that's exactly what this is. This is got a boozy type of aspect to it, but it's really coffee, cardamom, cinnamon. It's really sweet, really seductive, man. I mean, it's got a praline note in this that's really like we talked about dancing a second ago. That
Hmm.
praline just dances on the background of everything that this fragrance is doing. When you spray this on, now I gotta spray it, man. When you spray this
Talk to him.
on,
Spray it on. Sprinkle me.
man, it is.
Spray
Oh my
some in the
gosh!
microphone. I might catch a waft.
Look, man. So the cinnamon in here, man, this is one of the sexiest cheapies that you could possibly get. It's a $35 fragrance, man. But when you
Wow.
spray this on, the way that it lingers, the way that it plays in the air, you talk about a sexy sillage. This thing here has that. And this is not something that I'm saying. This is something that I've had GTD. This is something that
This is
people
something
around
she
me of
said.
the opposite, that's what she said, that it has that. This is one of those neck to nose fragrances.
Mm.
This is one of those, man. The occasions you wear this is a date night all day, every day. This is one of the ones that closes the deal. That's
Mm.
the type of fragrance that it is. And like I said, it's got this sweetness to it, but it's got a little bit of a woody vibe to it as it gets into the dry down. So it's still very masculine,
Masculine, yeah.
you know. So when, like I said, when it smelled, it's like, now it could be unisex. You
Mm-hmm.
could do it. You really could.
Mm-hmm.
But in all honesty, guys, fellas, this right here. If you want to seal it up, this is the one right here, man. Date night approved. This is really what this is for. You could wear it to the office, but you don't need HR knocking on your door talking about we got folks passing out when you walk by.
Yeah, yeah. 4 women just were found, with their head in their lap.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, but that's what it is, man. And like I said, $35, fragrancebuy.ca.
Crazy,
I think you can find it on FragranceNet as well, for around the same price, man. This is good. This is
man.
really, really good.
Guys, listen. Top note: cardamom, coffee, cinnamon, bergamot. Middle note: praline, nutmeg, cedar, patchouli. Base notes: cedar, vanilla, amber, musk. If you are not sold on that structure right there, just off face value, something is wrong with you. You don't go out on dates at night. You're on
Yeah.
your computer. You're not out in the streets, and that's just, it is what it is. But guys, man, after hearing that, I'm embarrassed to say I've never even heard of that fragrance, especially being that it's from a fragrance line that I am very familiar with.
Oh,
So
yeah.
wow, as soon as I turn this video off, I'm gonna be copping that without question.
Bro, when you smell it, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, that's it. That's it.
Listen, man, say less. Okay, guys. Um, all right. We talked about date night. This might just be a date night episode, we might just have to take it there.
Had to
Okay.
turn on the Lionel Richie in the background, man, and
Hey, get the vinyl going. You
right.
know, get your best candle out. I don't care if you're at home for Netflix and chill. I don't care if you're out at a theater, bar, ballroom, whatever. When
Oh
we
yeah.
talk about date night showstoppers, this fragrance is controversial among men because not all men can rock it. But there is no question that whoever chooses to rock it has one of the best signature unisex fragrances out there. I actually think it's masculine leaning, but women can totally rock it as well. But I think this particular fragrance is masculine leaning for me, and I prefer it over the niche fragrance that it is running after. And that is Tom Ford's Black Orchid EDP. We are
Mm.
talking cacao. We are talking patchouli. Is there white chocolate in there? I don't care. Smells like chocolate. Okay? There's a velvetyness to it. There's almost this rough play on the orchid note is so pungent, and that's what throws people off sometimes is certain men don't rock with certain florals. I get that. I have a beautiful alternative for you. This is, I believe, Fragrance World, correct me if I'm wrong, but Zara Man.
Oh, nice, nice, nice.
There are many fragrances that chase after the Black Orchid DNA. We've got Black Origami. We've got Oud 24 Hours. There's another one. There's at least 2 or 3 other ones that don't come to mind. But when we talk about Black Orchid renditions, nothing holds a candle. You either fall into 2 categories: smells great, lacks performance, or has all the performance in the world, but is just simply not Black Orchid EDP. I will do you one better. This is almost exactly Black Orchid EDP, not Velvet Orchid, Black Orchid EDP, with all the performance in the world you could ask for. 8 hours, maybe even 10 hours plus, sits on your clothes, sits on your pillow the next day, sticks to everything. But to me, it smells better than Black Orchid because the controversial note of the orchid, which is sweet, powdery, velvety,
Yeah.
is oftentimes too floral for some. I think they put a freshness on this one. It's not taking it in terms of I wouldn't even call this a twist. I think it's 1-to-1. There's just the tiniest 10% nuance where the top of the orchid is duffed off to be a little bit fresher, so it comes out of the floral sweet a little bit and feels a little bit closer to unisex, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and it just it goes fresh but maintains all of its performance. It is super seductive. The patchouli is so grounding in this fragrance. Heavy dose of patchouli, this earthy richness, this velvetiness, this chocolate cake feel. The florals are there. Guys, the cacao even. I mean, it's just this is one of those fragrances where if you only smell it on the test strip, you'll walk by it.
Yeah, yeah.
Put this on skin. Let it sing to you in the air. It will sing you a beautiful melody. And listen, before you know it, you're going to be wondering if you're the sun, because the gravitational pull is going to be crazy on this.
Boy.
Date night seduction in a bottle, nightlife in a bottle, bachelor in a bottle, whatever you, and completely signature. This isn't only niche smelling, it's completely one-to-one in its class, in terms of there aren't many niche fragrances in the kind of chocolate cakey vibe of a patchouli rendition. A lot of them kind of lean fresh or earthy or things like that. I could name maybe 5 or so like must-have patchouli cakey-esque fragrances, but when you look at how much niche perfumery is out there, that's not a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of it might try to go there, but they're just dancing in the middle between fresh and gourmand-esque. I think this does it absolutely right. It's a must-have, and I like it. To me, I don't wear Black Orchid EDP, even though I have. It's not my preference. Zara, man, you must have. You can get it for about 35 to 40 bucks. The only place I can find it is Triple Traders. I haven't been able to find it anywhere else. So definitely check it out. Guys, put it on your skin, please. I beg of you. And just give it a shot at night and see how it bounces off of everything, how it blends with the mood. I could even imagine, like, if there's some cigar smoke in the air, this would go crazy against that. It just has the ability to play with the environment a bit. And so there's different ways to duff it out, sure, but a standalone fragrance you got to have in your collection, or something close to it as it relates to that cakey patchouli vibe. This right here does it for me, guys, every single time. Check it out.
Oh yeah, man, that one's good. That one is really, really good, man. I mean, Zara is one of those houses that a lot of people don't talk about, as far as like what they're doing out in the fragrance space. But I feel like probably coming up in the next couple of years with some of the stuff that they've done recently, I think people are going to be talking about them a little bit more in the space.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And if they ain't talking about it, you know who's going to be talking about it.
I know it, right?
The scent bubble. I got plenty of hits from there. But anyways, man, yeah, absolutely. Check that out, guys. 2 from Gator, 2 from me. We're going to send it off with round 3. Gator, show us the 5th fragrance.
So here's the thing, man. I think that scent is a journey. Fragrance is a journey, and sometimes you wear stuff for other people, and that's nice, and that's great. Sometimes you wear stuff for you.
Talk
And
to him.
sometimes you just want to kind of experience the journey that a fragrance can go through. Now, we talk about a lot of designers and we talk about these terms like linear and progression and things like that. Linear being, okay, well, this is going to be something that kind of stays the same as I spray it on my skin and just kind of goes throughout the life of the wearing experience. A lot of niche brands, a lot of niche fragrances don't do that. They tend to change a little bit as time goes on in the wearing experience. There are some designers that do it, but it's not as much. There are some fragrances though that take you on a journey. When you wear it, you go through the ups and downs and the peaks and valleys of the fragrances. This one is one that does that. And it's from the most surprising of sources, man. This is from Pepe Jeans. Pepe Jeans, yeah,
Wow.
the old school jeans company. So they have a fragrance called Pepe Jeans Celebrate. Now look at this, man. This is like a margarita shaker type of thing here. Looks like it's ready for a celebration, man. Looks like you're ready to shake this thing up, man. It's an interesting bottle. The fragrance inside is super interesting. So now picture this. It starts off with like a black currant. And this is one of the, interestingly enough, it's one of the better black currants that I've smelled out there in the fragrance space. Starts out with a black currant and lime, so it's super, super tart. But then it goes into like this journey where it goes into like a powdery cacao note, right? So you don't think of lime going into cacao and transitioning,
Mm-hmm.
But that's exactly what it does. It takes you on this thing where you literally start getting more of a powdery cacao, and as this thing dries down, you start getting patchouli that starts popping up. You start getting this kind of like this sharp woodiness that's coming from like a birch note in
Mm-hmm.
there, and all the time you still have this little like hint of lime that's kind of sitting in the background. And you would think that sounds weird. That sounds very, very weird. It is, right? But it's so interesting the way that this fragrance takes you on that journey. And it's funny because it's got this unique freshness to it. Yeah, when you think about having something that's gonna have a cacao note in there, but then it has lime in the back, then it's got this patchouli. It's definitely a fragrance that is worthy of the journey. Then this is one that you wear mostly for you because you'll be smelling it all throughout the day, being like, oh, well, that's interesting. Oh, it did that. Oh, wow, that's interesting. But this is one of the fragrances that really made me appreciate how fragrances are put together and how they're built.
Mm.
Because it literally, whoever put this together was a freaking madman. They literally sat there and were like, huh, I wonder if I can make it do this and this and this and this and this. And they pulled it off. And I think they were having fun when they created this fragrance, man. I mean, you could tell by the bottle. I mean, they were
Mm-hmm.
having fun when they were doing it. And you'll have fun in the wearing experience, man. This is one you could wear just about anywhere. Like I said, it's got a little light lime freshness. That don't let the cacao note scare you. This is actually something you could wear in the spring and in the summer. Not good for winter wear because it's not that strong.
Mm-hmm.
But 3 seasons definitely you could wear this. And like I said, it's mostly for you. It is something you can wear in the office. I've worn it in the office before, and I've actually had people that told me that I smelled different from 1 hour to the next hour that
Mm.
I've encountered them.
That's
So
cool.
it's an interesting one, man. And I think that if you have not, it's $25. Hey, get your nose on this and see if you like that journey and you like that experience, man. It's really nice. It really is, man. And like I said, the worst case scenario in the 2 hour dry down, you got something that's going to be nice and fresh, and it'll be something that is pretty crowd pleasing. So get your nose on it, man. Pepe Jeans celebrate.
Wow. What a fragrance. Hey, I can always count on you to teach me something, man. That's excellent. And for those of you, I would say chili and lime and cacao might not seem like they go together. It might seem like a not really an American familiar note pairing, but I mean, if you go into like a healthy food store or something, or a store that sells chocolate, a lot of times you might see chocolate flavored with chili lime or something like
Yeah,
that. So it's definitely not like a completely innovative note pairing. I think it's just to Americans, it's not something we often see together, but it's definitely
right.
something that's been explored before. And so I could. I'm somewhat familiar with it to know it's not going to smell random. There's been people who
Right.
have this is a tried and true note pairing. It just might be unfamiliar. So definitely get your guys' nose on that. Pepe jeans, man, that was crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, beautiful
I had a choice
fragrance.
of I had like I told Sid Bubble, man, I had 7 of them, and I literally was like, that one right there might be interesting. Let's go with
I
that.
like that too because people got to hear about stuff like this. I would have never heard about that had you not mentioned it.
Oh yeah, man.
All right, guys, to close it out, uh, kids, it might be time to brush your teeth, get your jammies on, and go to bed because this is grown man talk.
Oh, oh,
This is when your dad took you to the shop, maybe you were in New York or Jersey or something like that. Your dad took you in the pizza shop or the lounge, and they had the room in the back you could never go into, or they had the basement floor that the guys would go down into for several hours. You wouldn't know what the heck they were doing, but they were discussing business. They were playing cards. They were lighting up. Who knows what else they were doing? But guys, this is for the grown and the sexy. Young boys, as you grow up, you are going to want to This is where you smell the man that's got this on and you go, man, 30's looking beautiful. 40's looking rich. 50's looking exquisite. This is amazing to me, guys. I'm shocked to say in this line, this is one of the later fragrances I tried. But I am just absolutely flabbergasted by this fragrance. This is Cigar Lounge. This is Guy's Night Out. This is Guy Gone Rogue. He's just on a solo mission. This is Sexy. This is Hotel Suite. This is Clubbin'. This is Theater. This is Ballroom. This is Showroom Floor. This is Step Foot on the Showroom Floor. I'm buying it cash.
Oh, yeah.
All the way down to just kicking it in your own office at the crib with a cigar. Maybe sitting on the patio, reflecting on life and how far you've come. So much richness to this fragrance. I cannot believe it is under $50. This is from the house of Lalique, and this is Ombre Noire.
Yeah.
When you first put your nose to this fragrance, it's extremely signature. Do not get me wrong at all when I tell you this. But this is not a fragrance that you can understand on a test strip. This isn't a fragrance you can spend a day with a travel spray. This is a fragrance that comes alive and almost seems to reinvent itself with time. Macerates to perfection. What are we talking about as far as notes? I'm going to put it up here on the screen for you guys. This fragrance ranges in the $40, $50 range. I don't think it's going south anytime soon. When it comes available, it's swept off the shelf, similar to Lin Sumi. But you can get it on things like Joma Shop and Fragrance Net, Max Aroma, something like that from time to time. But it will be on back order. It will be on a delay. It took me a month to get it. It took me a month on Joma Shop. I had to cancel my order. Got it in 5 days off Fragrance by CA. Super pissed me off. Should have just grabbed 2 bottles so I don't have to ever deal with it. But what are we talking about, guys? Slow-mo Shop. I love the bottle because they contrast the square in the circular. You're typically used to getting the square on square tops, woody top. It's got kind of this nautical design on it. Bottle presentation is just classy, guys. I mean, this belongs next to your finest cigar on the table, and don't touch it unless it's that occasion. What are we talking about? Top notes, fig leaf, mint, bergamot, heart notes, tobacco, cinnamon, papyrus, base. There's a lot of base. And in that base, we have cognac. We have myrrh, olibanum, cedar, and tonka bean. Now, I'm going to remove this note breakdown off the screen because this is what you need to understand, guys. When you talk about vanillic, spicy, cinnamony, cognac-y, vanillic fragrances in the lines of maybe Le Male Elixir, that type of stuff, Halloween Man Shot, they don't hold a candle to this, and I'm going to tell you why. Even Angel Share, subpar to this, to me. They lean on sweet. Too heavy. 70% or higher, they just lean on vanillic. And because of that, the accords behind it don't get to dance and shine and sing. Now, they do lean heavy on an accord here, but it's cognac. And because they leaned on the cognac, and the cognac is pungent but not loud traveling, it's not the most projective insanity, everything gets a moment to shine when the cognac dies down. Now, this thing is drenched in cognac. And in a lot of ways, I wish fragrances like Angel Share were more drenched in cognac. So that way the vanilla duffs off and you can kind of get to the praline and the cinnamon and the cardamom, all that other goodness that's inside of that slice. But because they did that here, the tobacco, I think it needed the drench of cognac because this thing, you almost want to just take off the top, pour it in a shot glass and shoot it and spray it on. But I think what that drench of cognac does, when it finally settles, you get this liquored out myrrh. You get this drenched out, soaked woodiness. The tobacco is rounded out. It's not too ashy, but a little bit of ashiness comes up. So it's a smooth tobacco, but it's a natural leaf pipe tobacco feel. The tobacco jumps out of the fragrance. It's in the pipe. You feel like you're smoking it in real time. The cinnamon is just secondary. It's not trying to be a leading role like a lot of these fragrances. It's just playing the background to tint the fragrance. The green notes on here with the mint, though, is really what's stellar. I think having the fig leaf, the mint, and the papyrus, which in the right dosage are they pop a fragrance.
Yeah.
They take everything under it and they just lift it up and throw it at you. And so there's this airiness, there's this freshness, there's this greenness, there's this dustedness that is dancing on top of this fragrance. It's not just a fragrance you got to get close to. I would say the projection on this might be 3-4 feet, but man, if they get in range of you, they will not be able to finish their thinking in their head. They will immediately get sucked into the moment and be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I just stepped into somebody else's radius. Is there an animal around here? Is there like this is going to change the whole mood. And there's guys, for that reason, it's again, you could go rogue with this. You don't even have to go date night. This is just man in a bottle. This is just, I mean, even though there's not leather in it, it has a leather jacket feel to it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Gator boots. Anything with animal skin on it, cigar, alcohol. You can date night it up too, though, because this is the man she wants to be up. She knows the night's covered. She's protected. You got all the money in the world to do whatever. You can have whatever you like. Mm-hmm. That type of fragrance.
Yep.
Man in a bottle. I do think it's 30 and up, but man, if you're an ambitious 25 and up year old with your priorities straight, it's got like a James Dean effect to it. You know what I'm saying? That like, or what's the dude from Grease Lightning?
Oh,
you know, if you want to, if you want to get your Travolta on and you're ambitious and you want to kind of go into that bag, you know, it could go there. But I definitely think it's 30 plus, man. This is grown and sexy, berry white. You can get in your music bag. You ain't playing what's on the radio. You taking it back, but it doesn't smell old manish.
No.
There's a modern timelessness to this fragrance that is so fresh and uplifting and alluring. It's just got all the great things you smelled as a kid that made you feel masculine. It's got the outdoors. It's got the tobacco. It's got the expensive cognac feel. It's got the incense, the cinnamon, the mint. Like, you just can't argue with the pairing. And like I said, it's one of the multi-dimensional fragrances. It's got space in it. It's got layers. It's got different components. And for that reason, it just really grows into a fragrance that you more and more appreciate. At first glance, you might just think cognac and tobacco. Throw that thing on skin and go outside. I do think it's a nightlife fragrance or a cold weather fragrance, but nonetheless, you put it out there, man, this is a fragrance even in your office. If you just want to have that vintage feel, put a couple sprays on, it's going to get the job done. You're going to power through anything you got in life. Yeah. If you're having a hard time, you ain't feeling adequate as a man, put this on. It'll change the whole vibe. Man, I can't say more about this fragrance. Absolutely phenomenal. Ombre Noire from Lalique. I think a lot of people look at the thing Ombre Noire and they don't know what to think of it, because there's some Ombre Noirs or Ombres that, you know, don't always fit the bill. But man, pull the trigger on this one, guys. It never ceases to amaze me how much just appeal and signature this has. Certainly smells niche. Yeah. There's no question about that, but also incredibly signature, if there is such a word. And you can get it for about $40-50 just about anywhere if it's available. Phenomenal fragrance, guys. You got to check it out.
Definitely, man. You know what I akin this to? And I actually described it like this one time before when I wore it. So it's almost like you walked into the jazz club wearing Percival, and you sat down in a booth and you're smoking cigars for about a half an hour. You're sitting there, you got that pungent cigar smoke, and then somebody spills their drink on you. Spills that cognac on you, or you're sipping and you, whoa, wait a minute. That literal photorealistic
Visual.
shot
Yes.
of that smell is what you get, because you're getting all of those things. Talk about a scent journey.
Oh,
That fragrance will take you on a scent journey. It's got that brightness of the mint. It's got the booziness though. You get that booziness right away
right
when
off
you
the
when you
bat.
get on there. And like when we're talking about drenched in cognac.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but it doesn't feel like cheap liquor. You know
No,
what I'm saying? It's
absolutely
got this
not.
depth to it, to where it's like, oh, okay, this is subtle. I'm not drenched in whiskey. I'm literally drenched in like a smooth type
Top
of
shelf.
yeah, yeah, buttery type of alcohol, but you're picking up a little bit of mint, you know what I'm saying, in the background of that thing. But that tobacco, I think it's not understated, but at the same time, it's not like, oh my God, I'm getting whiffs of this blown in my face. It stands out, but it's really, man, that stuff's good. I like it a lot. I like it a lot.
Guys, a lot of people that play in this DNA, I'm going to just be real with you. It's not photo real.
Yeah.
You put your nose to this fragrance, it takes you to a place with real raw materials, and that's what gives it that niche feel. The ingredients just feel so top shelf that it actually takes you to a place in time and a literal vibe. For those of you who that struggle with tobacco but want to love it, go here. For
Yeah.
those of you that struggle with boozy notes because you feel like sometimes it comes off too sweet and you lose your masculinity with it, come here.
Yeah.
For those of you who struggle with cinnamon because a lot of people cheat and throw it into vanilla and make you smell like a holiday cupcake, come here.
Right.
There's just so much beauty to how they blended this because the ratios were dialed in and the ingredients are so high quality. Not a single accord in this fragrance smells bottom shelf.
No.
Everything smells expensive, smooth, rich, and real. And man, this will compete with any niche fragrance in the booze, tobacco, vanillic, amber, resinous, incense category, I assure you. And for its price, I would own 5 bottles if Sloma's shop wasn't so slow.
Oh yeah, man. The caveat to this is exactly though what you said at the beginning. This is not a you're not wearing this at 22 years old walking into your physics class in college.
They
That it is
they know you
not
stole it from your dad.
right, exactly. And that's what it is. It literally smells like a successful guy, 35 and up, and if you wear it, we usually say, hey, wear any fragrance you want to if you're, whatever age you are or
Right.
whatever. No, don't wear this. High school seniors, do not wear this to school, to your graduation. This is literally for the 30 and up crowd, man. It really is.
You're going to get sent to the principal's office and they're going to say that, this kid has been drinking on campus.
Yeah.
Where is the fifth of alcohol? We will find it.
Exactly.
Where's your cigar? We
Right.
know it's on you.
I know you got smokes on you. Where are your smokes?
All right, guys. Well, hey, listen, I want to just summarize this up real quick. We'll put it in the description. Gator, name your 3 fragrances again for price point, location, and name, please.
All right, so we're going with the start of this journey here, which was Ajmal's Song of Oud, beautiful oud fragrance, apple, ginger. This is retailing somewhere around $35 to $40 normally here. Get your hands on it. Definitely a great fragrance. You can get it from fragrancebuy.ca, I believe has it. Joma Shop has it. Great one for those. The second one, sorry. Gold Cedar Nights, man. This is Jesus de la Pozo on this one. This is cinnamon. It's got doesn't have booze in it, but it has a boozy nature to this thing. But it's got cardamom coffee, nice warm GTD. That's all you need to know about this one, man. Retails probably around 35 as well on this fragrance, man. Pick it up. You can get it from fragrancebuy.ca. Oh, reliable there. And then, of course, the wild card, the anomaly. here. This is Pepe Jeans Celebrate. This is a party fragrance. It really does come across like a margarita, and this is the perfect bottle for this. You know, lime in the background, black currant, cacao. This is a scent journey. This is not for the weak in heart, though. This is more for you when you want to just experience what a fragrance kind of feels like as it goes through its progressions. $25 on most retailers, and actually on discounters is around the same amount. You can actually find it probably for cheaper on Joma Shop. So, great fragrance for just everyday wear.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, guys, and to summarize real quickly, because we're hitting under an hour here, but hey, that's what we do when we link up. We give y'all good information, well-rounded information. What I love about the content we put together is you probably don't need to click over and check out the other video about the fragrance. If you can't figure out whether or not you like or don't like the fragrance after this video, then I don't know what to tell you, because we writing an almanac over here of fragrances. Okay, so starting off, $20 fragrance you can get anywhere, including Amazon. This is Maison Alhambra's Afro leather, cloning Memo Paris's African leather. $20 fragrance. What are we talking? Cardamom, leather, cumin. Don't be intimidated by that note. It's the lightest type of cumin. Vetiver, patchouli, musk, agarwood, oud, bergamot, geranium. Amazing, zingy, date night, bachelor, out on the town, nightlife. I do think it goes both weather, and I do think there's an agelessness to it, but if I'm trying to be mindful of the consumer audience, I would say safely about low 20s and up.
Oh, yeah.
As a fragrance, incredible longevity, you got to get it. Next up, $30 to $40 fragrance. I can only find it on Triple Traders. This is Zara Man. And this is cloning Tom Ford's Black Orchid EDP to perfection. The subtle caveat is I say it's Tom Ford Black Orchid done better, if you can imagine that. We are talking kind of a chocolate cakey vibe, cacao, chocolate, patchouli, a beautiful black orchid, kind of purple flower, dark, mysterious sweetness, but it's freshened up on this fragrance, which is why I think it's more mass appealing. Again, 8 to 10 hour fragrance, 30, 40 bucks. Again, another date night, nightlife, special occasion, cold weather fragrance, but in the warmer climates, as long as you're indoors and you got the occasion for it, wear it all day long, in my opinion. And then next up, for about the $40, $50 price point, from the House of Lalique. This is a designer house. We have Ombre Noire. You can get it pretty much anywhere when it's available. I prefer Fragrance by CA because Sloma Shop really be slowing it up. Yeah, when we talk, one of the more unique and signature renditions because of the additional notes on any kind of tobacco, tobacco, cognac-y, vanillic, resinous, woody type of rendition. This is a masterclass on that, with so much more detail than typical fragrances, even more niche fragrances, such as like your Angel Shares or whatever, that type of stuff, or your Tom Ford Tobacco Vanille. To me, this completely outclasses it. Is way more photo real and has a lot more masculine dimension. It doesn't try to ride the unisex line. This is a man's man fragrance. If you're a young guy going after this, you can buy the bottle. Maybe you can't wear it now. One day it's going to make all the sense in the world for you. One of the best renditions of tobacco, one of the best renditions of cognac, one of the best renditions of kind of resinous wood and incensey type stuff without being too smoky. Just everything to perfection in the details. It'll grow on you. Cold weather fragrance, a seductive date night, special occasion, nightlife, cold weather, insanely signature. And man, you got to buy a bottle of it. And yeah, that's our 6, guys. You have any last minute thoughts?
Oh no, man! I just wanted to say, man, if you guys ever have any, any doubts about, trying new things, man, don't be afraid, man. That's part of the fragrance journey. Trying out some new stuff. A lot of the DNAs that we talked about here are familiar. Some of them aren't familiar, but it's fine because that's what niche is all about. Trying to take that step off into something that's not super mass appealing, but something that will get you noticed and can actually become your signature, man. So don't be afraid to put your nose on some new stuff.
And I find a lot with niche perfumery, if it fits the bill, is it because the quality a lot of times is there and gives you an enhanced experience, you start to appreciate accords that you never would have because they were
Yeah.
shown to you so cheaply. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we're happy to show you guys these 6. We'll put them in the description. Again, guys, I think the point to this video is not only to put you guys onto newer fragrances you might not have heard of, but also to show you that you don't have to break the bank to smell expensive. The fragrance world is so massive now that we can enter it at any price point. To people who are only niche heads, I tell this story all the time. I've got several friends who only buy niche, and so I blind decant them cheap fragrances all the time that oftentimes they ask me for a full bottle of afterward, and that's a fun experience. So definitely keep a well-roundedness and an open mind in terms of the fragrance world, because you never know what'll stun you. And to people who kind of shop more affordable and stuff like that, get into the decanting game. You could still affordably try any fragrance on the market. And again, it's about the information. It's about the journey. No matter where you are at price point, again, expensive does not always mean complicated and better. And so you need to be able to swim in a lot of different lanes in fragrance to get the best experience, because oftentimes we are blinded by dollar signs and brand names and preconceived notions about fragrance. Bottom line is there are incredible bangers at every tier, and time again, you can go on Fragrantica, check the votes, check the accords, check the perfumers. Everything checks out on all forms. So again, hope you guys found this list to be helpful. I am TheScentBubble. You guys can find me. You know where you can find me. Gator, give them your socials just in case they forgot.
Anywhere I'm at, the Novice Knows, man. The Novice Knows. You can catch me on Instagram there. You can catch me on YouTube there. You can even catch me on TikTok when you can catch me on TikTok. It'll be the Novice Knows, man. That's KNOWS. And make sure you follow me, man, because you know I love to talk fragrances and talk wrestling too, random stuff, bro. I'm into everything.
Excellent. Hey, and Gator's starting to go live now, guys. So you guys can tap in and do Q&A, and you know, it's like his lives seem like the lounge. So come through, say what's up, and by the way, we're trying to, by the time this video even drops, we're gonna get Gator to 1,000 subs, and I'm just gonna throw that out there. It just needs to happen. Once he hits 1,000, it should be, you know, through the stratosphere from there. His content is totally worth it. It's frequent, it's got expertise, and it's got signature and authenticity to it in a way that not a lot of people have on here. So throw him a support, guys. I'm gonna put all his information in the comments below. Again, with that being said, this is TheScentBubble and Novice Knows hitting y'all with another collab for the 99 to the 2000. And y'all have a blessed rest of y'all's week, and appreciate y'all for tuning in. Until next time, peace.
Peace out.